folks like me. I don't remember if there was a microwave or not. That was the other thing. I can't remember because I wasn't going to use a microwave regardless of the fact. So, that was just kind of the thing, the setup before we finally got in there and we started, opening the baskets. When we opened the baskets, it didn't quite explain it to me, so I was kind of off. We opened the baskets and they wanted the reaction. I didn't know we were going to do this multiple times, and by the time the third or fourth time it comes around to finally open your basket and get ready to go, everybody just kind of starts taking off like crazy, and I'm just kind of like, are we seriously doing this? Are we ringing the bell? That's where the ringing the bell part came from. So anyway, I was kind of miffed that it was like, hey, let's start this fight. No, let's stop. Hey, let's start this fight. Hey, let's don't. But quickly got over it. Once it started, man, we were in competition mode, and it was going. Somebody did the trout call out. Bait's not barbecue, man. Eric, bait's not barbecue. So once the episode started rolling, the first, I guess the elimination appetizer round started rolling, man, things started just flowing for us. And we were all cooking, all going around and stuff. And my initial reaction was, we had to do something. North Carolina was my grandfather, my father's fried fish and coleslaw, And then I was like, it's a grilling contest, so kind of going back and forth while I'm, getting the bones out of the fish and stuff and trimming stuff. So I finally, and it was probably where I made my first mistake, was I decided not to do what I initially wanted to do and went with the grill. So as we consequently know, I made a fatal error. I did not grease that grill. And anybody knows, cast iron, if it's not seasoned properly, it really loves stuff to stick on it, and it can be brutal. So it really was a bad mistake on my part, as we all know. I regret doing it. Yeah, but who knows? I could have fried the fish too, and it could have fell apart. First time I cooked mountain trout, really delicate fish, fire may have just blown that stuff up and I've turned in a plate of sawdust. So it is what it is. But anyway, when we go through that, and anyway, when you make a mistake in competition, one of the biggest things in competition is that we don't punt, we don't, get scared or anything. So that part didn't bother me. I made a fatal error. My thing was to finish. I went through my head to make it simple. I dressed the coleslaw simple, just a vinaigrette. I did not try to do anything crazy. And just to get it on the plate. It looked like we were rushing there at the end, but I really can't remember any of my three competitors really struggling to get stuff on the plate. I think we were all kind of ready to go when the round ended, and it's time's up. And, when they said time's up, it's when you actually examine your food and you're just like, man, I left a lot on that burner back there, which I did. So, regrettably, that was my mistake. I own it, and I'll forever own it. Does it bother me? Nah, man. I walked out that door and I was good. So, oh, Mr. Yelton, I'm gonna put this up there because Mr. Yelton asked me a question. Do I look good in orange? I'll let you guys answer that. I think I look like a big pumpkin, and with my bald head, I didn't really like that look. I don't think it was very flattering. So, yeah, thanks, Mike. This shout out to Mike Baker with the quick skills here, throwing that up there on the screen and just kind of making me cringe once again. So the irony is that Jerry Stevenson didn't go to the chop final, but Adam Hughes took a part of Jerry Stevenson to the chop final. My man knows what I'm talking about. I did get that hat back before he got back on the KCBS trail. So hopefully, man, that mojo just kept right on flowing. So we're going to find out too. August 25th, Adam Hughes is going to be going up against, best that they got left out in Texas, Memphis, and Kansas City. Miss Stephanie's already on there with Adam, so we're going to wait for these next two episodes to see what happens. Somebody did ask a while ago, have I been watching? Of course, I'm going to watch, man. They're my boys, they're my girls, man. It's barbecue. We love one another. And even when we're competing against them, like I said, and you lose, you still pull for them, that's what barbecue's all about. So let me see, before I get to the judging round and all that stuff, see any other questions? Mr. Bobby chimes in. You were not allowed to fry at all? No, sir, we were. I chose not to. We had the fryer. We could pan fry and saute. I think some of the competitors chose to do this. I might have been wrong. I really wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. I think me and Adam were kind of joking about stuff back and forth, just to kind of some levity in that situation. But other than that, no. I mean, you could fry in a deep fat fryer or saute in a pan. It was your choice. However, they were adamant about this was a grill show. You will grill or get eliminated. And then the second thing was you will tie your things into North Carolina or you're eliminated. So, yeah, that's it. We could do it. Mr. Matthews, another great question. We'll take two more questions and then I'm going to go right into the flow. We're going to go to judging next and kind of what was said in the background and stuff you didn't hear. But let's take two more questions real quick. Mr. Matthews, is the jacket in the restaurant now? Nah, dude, they stripped me of everything. I couldn't even get out of there with a coaster that said chopped, a bottle of water that said chopped. No, you were pretty much out the door. They took the jacket. If somebody had to wear that jacket after me, I feel bad because that jacket stunk when I got done. I'll be blatantly honest. This is a really good question because my daughters have asked me that, and I have some family members that are ready to go to New York City and talk to the stylist, the producer who picked the basket ingredients. What protein do I wish had been in the basket? Obviously, anything other than mountain trout. You know, the joke that was made in the back that never made the air was this was bait. This is what I used to catch fish with on the coast growing up. So anything other than that. I would have loved to have had that pork butt or something where I could have made a sausage, stuff that we do. Country ham. I mean, there's so many pork products. Give me the liver mush, man. Give a shout out to my buddy Bubba. Jack Chavis, I mean, he's the liver mush champion of the world, eating champion. I've watched him eat enough liver mush now. I know how to cook that to make it taste good. So that would have been really cool to me. You know, but it's a cooking competition, so you have to be versatile. You know, you just can't get the same stuff and expect to do the same thing. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'd have loved to have anything pork, anything other. I'd have liked to have, you know, a shoe than mountain trout. So, guys, keep the questions coming in. I'm going to leave you here for a second and just kind of go into the judging part. So once we turn in your food, you guys see that, and you go up and you stand, and then you walk off in the room to the sequester room again, and that's where we kind of converse and stuff like that. I had a feeling my dish was plain Jane and I was in trouble. I knew I was one of two. You know, not tasting the other three dishes, you have no clue. I mean, don't punt, you're always in the fight. You know what I mean? Take your licks, turn your stuff in. That's what we do in competition barbecue. So when we came back out, you know, and we're presenting to the judges and stuff, my background's in psychology. I have a master's in psychology, so I can read stuff pretty well, behavioral psychology at that. So you could see they were not really pleased with what I put on the dish, and it kind of verified what I already knew. And we started to talk. Mark, Chris, they were really straightforward with the stuff and their assessments. They were dead on. They were right. You know, it was bland. I'd left the best part of that fish laying on the grill back there burning. My salad was simply dressed. I'd used radicchio. I don't think that ever really came up, you know, for color and to try to put a little pepper in it to spice it up a little bit. And that probably was offsetting too. Probably not the best of calls. And Robin came and she told me that, you know, it wasn't a North Carolina slaw, which I already knew, but Robin also said North Carolina slaw was red slaw, and I was like, oh boy, you know, here we go again. So there was a big dialogue about red slaws and stuff like that you guys didn't see. I thought it was kind of cool. Shame it didn't make the show because, you know, you talk about North Carolina barbecue, everybody's always talking about Eastern versus Western. Well, people are just as adamant about Eastern style mayonnaise-based coleslaw versus Western ketchup-based coleslaw, and you know, it can get kind of livid. So anyway, yeah, that was part of the thing. You know, and then once they judge your dish, you get the little dialogue. You know, Mr. Stevenson, what would you do with $50,000? Well, you guys know what I said already. I wasn't there for that. I was for the grill master. But what they did ask, the most important question and what justified me going all the way to New York City and doing all this was the fact they said, why did you do it? And I knew why I did it. It wasn't rehearsed. It was just, the flow was there. I did it because of my mom. I was a starving guy in college. My mom's like, look, she taught me how to cook 3 dishes. So that was for Mom. My sister is my competition partner. She's the person that stands beside me. She's in front of me. She's behind me. I mean, she's omnipresent, in my life, in the competition world, and even in my restaurant world. She's right there with me, My wife, Elizabeth, it's a wonder, man. I don't wake up every morning with big old knots on my head from her beating me, because I know she thinks I'm the craziest person in the world with some of these ideas and stuff that I do. But she's always there to just say, do it. She's always there when I say, I don't think I can do it. She said, can't's not a word you use, do it. So, that was one of the reasons why I was there. And then the final 2 pieces to the puzzles were my daughters, Fiona and Elle. I just wanted to show them that they could do this. Don't be scared. It's something that, people are like, oh my gosh, like what I'm doing now, you can't get in front of camera. Well, if you believe in it enough, like God, family, country, barbecue, man, I can sit here and talk all day. And that was no different. It was a different place. It was kind of upsetting. It was something new. But, once we started talking food, barbecue, North Carolina, good to go. So, anyway, that was kind of the judging part. Let me grab a couple of your questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm going to try to answer as much as I can. My buddy Mike here, I don't want to keep him too long tonight, so hopefully he'll give me a heads up if I start running. Let's see, this is a good one, Mr. Allen Hughes. I'm going to throw this up here. Would I prefer the series would have been outside and use grill equipment? Absolutely, I'm not going to lie. It was disappointing. The production company was kind of fighting for us to be outside, but Food Network, who ultimately buys this episode from the production company, decided they wanted it inside. So it is what it is. But a competitor, it doesn't matter where, man. It's heck, I'd cook in a bathroom closet if I had to. Miss New, have I used vinegar powder before? Absolutely not. And let me clarify one thing, Food Network, the predominant vinegar of choice in North Carolina is apple cider vinegar, not white vinegar, but, who's to say? Let's see, ever met the lady judge that was from North Carolina? No, that was the first time. I didn't even know she was from North Carolina. I'll just be blatantly honest. I didn't know who she was until they said she was from North Carolina, and kind of called me like, I'm sorry, I should know you, but I don't, and I felt really bad about that. So anyway, here's another one, Mr. Dollarhide. Thank you. You've answered a bunch of good questions, and for that, you'll be getting something from me a little bit later. How did you like the judging format with the judges eye to eye with you over the blind box judging? It didn't bother me. I think the fair assessment is I love the blind box, what we do in KCBS. It's the Kansas City Barbecue Society circuit. I'll describe that real quick. It's basically we put something in a box with a number in it, and it's put on a table. Somebody else puts another number on it, and it's called a double blind system. So by the time it gets to the judges, there's no name. They don't know who it is. They open up this plain styrofoam box that everybody has, and there's meat in it, and you're judged like that. In this format, of course, you're standing across your food, and these judges, they're doing their best not to go, oh, it's crap, or it's horrible, or stuff like that. So eye to eye, I think you don't get quite the initial reaction from folks, judging wise and stuff. Do I think you can be influenced? No. The best food won. My food wasn't the best in this episode, this chop episode. So I don't think it was influential in the outcome for me. However, these guys that do this MBN stuff, this Memphis Barbecue Network stuff where they put on a show for the judges, maybe so. We'll let them answer that question. They're coming up here shortly. Let's see. Here's another one. Thank you, Miss Bettinger. Once you walked off, you able to come back and rest on the set. No, once you were off, basically, you guys saw me. I mean, you look at the judges and you walk, exit stage right, literally, exit stage right. They shuttle you off in a room, you're sequestered, you go through this exit interview of probably about 2 or 3 hours of answering all these questions and stuff, and finally they remove your jacket, they push you out the door and say, thank you, bye. Not quite that bad. Production staff there is awesome. They are so professional, it's not even funny. They were so tired, it's like the 3rd or 4th episode they had taped in a row. They're so professional, it's so cool watching them do their business. But no, once you're gone, you're gone. One of the 2 things with my exit that left, my buddy of mine, Brandon Weimer, I wanted to throw a little nugget out there for him because, you know, when you get ready to go and you're like, thank you, judges, thank you, you know, for chopping me. I just was like, you know what, I want to say something different. It popped in my head right there standing there as I'm getting chopped that, hey, you know what, I said, like 2 brothers from North Carolina says, no hard feelings. So the Everett brothers comment got shot. And then we taped the exit twice. You know, some people probably think I was throwing up gang signs, but this is actually something I do to my kids. I do this and I point and I throw the 2 up, and it's my nonverbal way to tell my kids I love you too. So even when I'm throwing it at 1, they know they're 2. Both my girls are the same. So whenever they see this, which they may be seeing this right now, they know exactly who it's for and what it's about. So thank you for that question. Any plans on doing another Food Network show? You know what, man? The phone ain't burning up about it, but would I? Yeah. Absolutely, man. If they told me I could go represent Johnson County, North Carolina, and barbecue, yeah, I'd be there yesterday. Let's see, we have a really long question here from Mr. Faria that I can't see for some reason.
Put it up there.
Let's see what happens. Bear with us, guys. This is the first time we're doing this. Let's see. Let me see this. Hey, I can see it. The judges basically, could you see that? I'll read it real quick. It basically says, when I was watching the show, it seemed like that the North Carolina barbecue, that the judges really didn't know that much about real North Carolina barbecue. Great pickup. Awesome pickup. It's maybe my best question of the night. Yeah, they didn't. It was our job to kind of educate them. They had brought in Miss Robin. Sorry, I can't remember your last name. She was kind of the expert to kind of fill in the blanks, the gaps and stuff right there about North Carolina barbecue. But it was our job to kind of educate these judges. They're professional chefs. Of course they know about Eastern Carolina barbecue. But, you know, I mean, it's like they still relied on us a little bit. You know, some guy threw a sauce out there that they kind of called out, you know, and it was like, is this the real deal? And, you know, it's like, it kind of told me right there that they did know what the real deal North Carolina sauce was, and this wasn't one, of course. So, you know, I mean, that was just one of the things that I caught, you know, like, you know, if you guys are on here, remember, it's part of your job to educate the judges. Don't come off as some pretentious, know-it-all, I, me guy. Come across as a gentleman that says, this is how my family does it, or this is how we do it at Sunday when I go to somebody's houses, or traditionally. Something with that non-assuming, you know, I know it all role to these guys is probably the way this stuff should be presented. Let's see. Let's get some more. This is so cool. Thank you guys, man, for this. You guys are really important for not only me, Mr. Baker, Mr. Mike Baker here. Let's see. What was the best thing you were able to take away from this experience? 2 things. One, 11-year-old girl told me that don't let anybody tell you the sky's the limit when there's footsteps on the moon. The other thing is, I think I've shared this with you guys. Anybody that read my diatribe that I did right after the show, right after I was chopped. Basically, man, the thing about this experience, it just justified the fact. I'm telling people all the time, you know, we stand on the cliff of life like getting ready to jump off of it, and we're scared, you know, because it's a normal human reaction. But sometimes you got to jump off that cliff. You got to be willing to take that risk. I tell people in competition, I'm willing to risk everything to win one thing, you know, to win something. And this is kind of the same way. You got to treat it the same way. I use the metaphor, the only way to hit a home run is to step into the batter's box, and you know what? You could strike out. Who cares? You crawled in the batter's box. So I took that from that experience. It just basically reinforced all of these thoughts that I've always had in the back of my brain, the stuff that fuels me in everyday life and competition, and the stuff I like to pass on to my children. And hopefully some of you guys maybe pick up on some of this too as well. Let's see if we got any more questions here, and then I'll talk about it. Paige, would you ever? Thanks, Mike. I missed that one. Hosting a Chopped series on the YouTube channel with families and friends. That's already been set in motion. There is going to be a showdown between Mr. Sean Manley and Miss Roxanne Manley, and I'm going to be doing the boxes. Kind of like what you guys did to me. We're going to be doing it at Christmas. So we may end up doing something like this on YouTube. We may not. We'll see. But it is in the works. It's going to happen. I can't wait to do it. Can't wait to see it. So yes, ma'am, we are going to do something about it. Let's see. Advice I would give. Here is a good one, man, because Mr. Hamilton asked, what advice would I give to the up-and-coming young pitmasters? I'm going to tell you kind of my philosophy on learning, especially with the barbecue, and a lot of you guys already know it is that barbecue, there's no one right way to do something. So if somebody ever tells you that they're a professional, that they're perfect, you ever hear somebody say perfect barbecue, they're not telling the truth. Barbecue is an imperfect science. What we do is we try to control, contain, and keep it as consistent as possible. So with that being said, with people who are starting out cooking barbecue and are becoming pit masters, I have to tell you, you have to burn a lot of meat before you get it right. You have to ruin a lot of stuff before you get it right. Just like that mountain trout I ruined. I promise you, the next time I go to cook that mountain trout, it won't be what I did last time. It'll be better. I know what my mistakes were. The first thing is admit you made the mistake, realize what mistakes you made, and then use it later on to grow, to try to figure out how to do something better. So my advice to you young pit masters is go out there, try. You're going to fail. It's inevitable, but learn, realize what you did wrong, and then next time try to minimize those mistakes, keeping it in an orderly fashion. And that's how you get the consistency, and that's how you start developing your profiles and your products and stuff. But you'll never be perfect, man. Anybody that tells you they're perfect in barbecue or they cook perfect food or it's perfect is not telling the truth. So, let's see. I think, all right. So you guys got some more questions. Just keep them coming in right now. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit. Basically, I told you guys like how the judging worked, and now that it's over, and you're doing all the background stuff and you're talking and stuff, and then you're done. You're out the door. I did not know, none of the pit masters we've talked about who won, like Adam, or anything like that. So we didn't know any of the outcomes. I think. Looking back on it, that was one of the biggest things, if anybody's ever doing this, was the secrecy part, withholding information, like with me from my wife. It was like, man, I had cheated on her, with this mistress in New York, and I couldn't talk about. And, my kids are constantly asking me once they found out that I'd gone to New York to take this, Dad, did you win? Did you win? Did you win? Did you win? And you can't say it. So be prepared for that, if that ever comes up or anything like that. So, anyway, I think I've pretty much covered everything that I've had to say about my episode. That these are the most relevant questions that people have asked me, is what I was telling you guys. If you guys got a few more questions, hit me up real quick, a minute or two, and then we're probably going to shut this thing down. This episode 1, Bait Isn't Barbecue. Mr. Mike Baker, man, with event webcasting, this is awesome. This picture that you guys see behind me right here is on the back of the Redneck BBQ Lab. My brother-in-law painted this on the back. I drive up every morning, I pull up, I see this sign, and it puts a smile on that face. My man put it back here, so every now and then I'm taking a glance at it and it just puts kind of a smile on my face. It makes me feel good. But let's see. Oh, here we go. Mr. Strickland, this may be our last question right here for the evening. This is funny. Did you or your family talk, yell at the TV while watching the episode? My extended family in Jacksonville, my sister said she walked out, was so mad. I know they weren't happy. Guys, I apologize. It is what it is. I chose to watch it at home with my two girls for the specific reason. It was a selfish reason. I wanted to share it with them. It wasn't something I wanted to do public. I wanted to be there with them, not only to console them. My oldest daughter, Elle, was like, Dad, you got chopped an appetizer around before it even judged. And I'm going, baby, it hadn't happened yet, you know, or happened, it may not happen, you know. And I was there, but I also got to watch them, and it was just really cool. I didn't have to talk with people, and I know it sounds selfish, but I got to sit there and key in. You know, their eyes are this big. I see these smiles and little tears in their eyes, and you know, my wife's cutting her eyes at me like, yeah, and I'm like, you know, and I'm just poker face through it and stuff, and that was really special. We were doing a lot of yelling. We were doing a lot of screaming. I'm yelling, you know, I'm sorry. I'll put, look, Western North Carolina barbecue, Eastern North Carolina barbecue. I'll go on record here tonight. I don't care. I love it. Whole hog barbecue. There's not a lot of barbecue out there I haven't met. But when it comes to slaw, I'm sorry, guys. I'm an Eastern North Carolina boy, born and raised on Duke's mayonnaise. And if you put that red stuff in my slaw, you have ruined it. So I really said something about that when that kind of got mentioned. But yeah, other than that, it was really, really good time. So anyway, guys, listen, appreciate y'all letting me do this. This was really awesome. I hope I didn't waste a lot of your time saying what I said. Hopefully you guys got something from it, got a little closure. We appreciate you coming, and one of the things that I'd like to do is give a couple giveaways here. We've got the first question that was asked actually was Miss Laree Fink, I believe is who it was, and we got a couple bottles of sauce for you. Why? Not only because you're awesome, but I've always said I need to bring you some sauce. Let's see, the other one I think was a t-shirt that we were giving away, and I forgot to write the name down of it. Oh, this is horrible. It was Mr. Tate was the brand question. Mr. Tate, I'll need your, Mr. Tim Tate, I will need your t-shirt size, and I'll get you a t-shirt. And Mike, do you remember who the other person was? I swear I was like, best question of the night, and I'm drawing a blank. Was it Rich Hooten? No, I hope he's not on here. Sorry, Rich, love you. I'm gonna find it. There was somebody that I said on here, and like I said, this is the first time we've done it. I probably should have written it down, but I will give that. What? Russell. I can't. Which guy? All right, you're coming up. Russell, you got a $25 gift card. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for once again tuning in for this. We'll probably end up doing some more of this later on. Stay tuned. We'll let you know when it comes up. But thank you guys for your questions. Thank you for your time in watching this. But more importantly, man, thank you guys for kind of being there. I've loved the fact that I felt like I went to New York City with an army behind me. And y'all were a big part of that. You know, when I went represent North Carolina, it just wasn't a state, it was a group of people. And you guys were that group of people I was representing. So I hope even though I didn't do great, you know, didn't have the outcome I wanted, hopefully, man, I did you guys justice. And, you know, thanks, love you.